Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. Super excited today. We are at D2D-Con 6. First time that we've set up at D2D-Con before with Be Authentic. So I'm really excited, and what I'm really excited about is the fact that I get to bring on my friend today, and we're only doing friends today, not people I don't know. I want people I'm comfortable with. Chelsea Winters. Chelsea, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, remember, talk loud.
Okay, yes sir.
I'm so excited that this is such a cool come full circle kind of moment, right?
Absolutely.
We've known each other for a little while.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot of shit together, had a lot of cool conversations, tried to help each other with different stuff. But I'd like you to tell the audience kind of how we met.
Yeah, so whenever I went to RoofCon, actually, not D2D-Con, I went to RoofCon. We were in Texas.
Yeah, I was in Houston.
Yes.
Yep.
And
My new home, by the way. Yes.
So being an owner of a roofing company and female, it's like Dudeville everywhere.
Yes.
It's just a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah.
But it didn't intimidate me. I was told by several people that there were three people I really needed to meet. You were one of them, Sam Taggart and Hunter Ballou. And I was like,
who
all
the
right.
fuck told you that you needed to meet me?
It was actually GAF.
Really?
Yeah. Noreen, she did.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, well.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm glad that I stretch manufacturers, that they still think that I'm okay even if I don't use their product.
You are. They do.
Yes,
they
that's
like
fantastic.
you. They like
Great.
you. So yeah, and you were on stage and you were wearing flip-flops and I was like, gosh, he's so cool.
That's right.
And he's so real and authentic.
And I had a broken arm.
Did you?
Yes,
oh,
Sam
you
had broke my arm.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I heard that story.
Yes.
But yeah, so you were up on stage and you were awesome, and I was like, okay, I've got to go talk to him, and veered through, found you, and mainly I really just, being new into the roofing industry, I just wanted to have people that I could call and ask questions whenever I needed to, so you're on speed dial for still.
Yeah,
and
good. Good to know.
But two, just somebody for my husband when it comes to anything with the commercial industry, with submittals and all the different things, just how to do it. I just knew I could trust you.
Yeah,
so.
That was, I'm remembering all of that now. I'm remembering that time at RoofCon because my daughter was there too.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that. It's the only event that she's ever been to.
And I met your wife.
And you met Natalie.
Talked forever.
Yep.
And it just clicked. And it clicked with Sam the same way too. And I just felt comfortable and I felt like I had support. But by going and talking to all of these guys, I guess, I think that's the part that it ended up hurting me a little bit later, where I was told that I was flirting and I embarrassed them by flaunting myself as a female in front of men. So,
do you think that is a pretty common thing that people project onto females in the industry just in general?
Yes.
Right?
I do.
You told me that the other day, and obviously I was irritated, and I was like, what a shitty thing, you know what I mean, to do and to say it to somebody that supposedly cares about you and, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of started digesting it later a little bit, and I was like, I bet that's not just Chelsea.
No.
Right? I'm like, I bet that's not just her. I bet there are tons of women that are in the industry, and then they get labeled with that behind closed doors, people fucking whispering. And I think at the end of the day, this is what I think. I think that it's a jealousy thing because you and other women in the industry, I 1,000% believe, have a distinct fucking advantage over guys like me. Right? I might have the knowledge and the history and the experience and whatever, right?
Right.
But I might be a man in a male-dominated, industry, right? But the industry is dominated by males. not necessarily all of our clients,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whether it's residential or it's commercial, when I go to a door, and I might be the nicest guy in the world, right? But when I go to a door or I try to get into a property manager group, I am still gruff, scary. Why is that guy knocking on my fucking door,
Right.
Eric, right?
Right.
It has always been my dream to be able to build this like female team of
Yeah.
salespeople, and it's so fucking hard, right? Because y'all are unicorns. Like, there's not a ton of you out there that aren't afraid of being in that industry and being in that conversation, because it can be intimidating. And I think that a lot of that really stems down to somebody in my position saying something like that is 100% jealousy, because we almost wish that we could have the relationships and the connections that you're able to establish, because you don't have to tear that wall down right away. Like, that's not the immediate thing you have to do, right? My first job as an owner, as a rep, as a whoever, when I'm building a relationship with somebody, is I have to tear down the wall. I have to tear down the wall that I'm not trying to steal from you. I'm not this, like, I'm not this shyster. I'm not this horrible person. I have to sell that I'm good.
Right.
Right? As a female, you're soft, right? You're soft, and immediately people will be like, oh, well, she's not threatening. Right. And then you get to just go in and start talking about who you are and what you do, without a door getting slammed in your face.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% a jealousy thing.
Don't ask me a question about a roof. I mean, but when it comes down to just the, to me, what I believe it with all my heart is to be authentic and to build trust, and that builds a relationship. Point blank, that's how you sell anything.
But knowing roofs is not your job, right? And so for people listening, like, if you're listening for like sales tips or team tips or whatever it is, right? One of the things that I teach my business development reps all the time is you don't need to know roofs, right? If we try to hire a new female in, they're like, well, I don't understand how a shingle goes together and a TPO and a screw pattern. And I'm like, well, first of all, they would have never said that because they didn't know what a fucking screw pattern was. But they think they need to know that in the beginning, right?
Right.
And you don't. You need to know people, right?
Yep.
You need to know how to make relationships with people. I'll do all of that, right? I'll be the expert in roofing or whatever widget it is that you sell.
Yeah.
You be the expert in people, relationships, and making friends. And that's what you're good at.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
And that's why you guys have grown the way that you've grown.
Huge.
And you've become this amazing brand that people are envious of, right? I mean, I love your guys' brand. Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about how, I was reading the notes that you filled out, and obviously, like, we know a lot about each other, but I love having people remind me of little stuff, right? And I forgot that before you got into roofing, you were a hygienist.
Yeah.
Like, that's hilarious. And you did that forever.
17 years.
That's a long fucking time.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all the teeth were just really gross to me one day. And I was like, ew, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it. Let's go start a roofing company.
And your but Matt was already in roofing.
Yes. So
right,
Matt,
on the supplier side.
Matt's been in roofing from being a sales rep to being a sales manager to being, then he started working for Beacon in the distribution. And so then in that, I started really kind of tiptoeing in roofing, really, whenever we would go on these trips with all of his reps, and I would wine and dine them and just make those relationships, really. And then after that, I mean, we had so much fun, but everybody kept telling Matt, just start a company, start a company, and he just would never leave the comfort of, like, 401k and insurance and all that stuff. Like, he was just nervous to do that. We had 2 little babies. And so
it's a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing to go out on your own and do fucking anything, right? A lot of people listening are entrepreneurs and owners and whatever. And like, it is a frightening thing.
Oh, it's scary, but that's, to me, I feel like anytime there's that fear of like making a risk and making a chance and just jumping.
Yep.
I was asked the other day, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much am I willing to risk in the next step? And I'm like, a 12. Like, you have to jump. I don't want to jump off of a cliff with Sam, ever. Don't ever do that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, you'll break shit.
Just scared,
or die.
That's crazy.
Yeah, or think you're gonna die.
But yeah, so I did dental hygiene for 17 years, and I love people, and I loved my patients, but...
And when you started off in the industry, though, you started off and you were kind of separated. And were you running two divisions, and Matt was kind of running commercial, and then...
Right. So whenever we first started, it was... Terminus was owned by me and my sister-in-law.
Yep.
And so my sister-in-law...
other thing that was really fucking smart is that you guys set it up as a women-owned business, right?
Yes, yeah,
Which
100%.
gives you opportunities that are not afforded to me.
I've learned a lot about
Right?
that lately, yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So
I feel like it's cheating. It's
not
fucking cheating.
No,
It's
because
cheating.
actually, I can only, you actually, what's it called? Limit. You're maxed out. You have for 10 million. So we have to open another LLC and do it again and do it again and do it again.
That you can only generate revenue of 10 million?
Mm-hmm.
Overall, not just from
you.
those type of contracts.
Well, they'll cap out your LLC, and then you branch it and make a new one.
Well,
and
whatever.
Just keep
Fucking
going.
make a new one.
I know.
Yeah, cheater.
No.
You're a fucking cheater. I'm just gonna own that. If I can't do it, it's fucking cheating.
Nah.
So, I'm glad that you get to do it though.
Yeah.
And then you've got new exciting news that has happened recently. I don't know how much you can or can't talk about that. But,
I can't yet. Press release will come out soon.
Well, big things are happening with
it's
Terminus.
so exciting.
And I'm super excited for you. It means a lot, to be able to see where we met 3 years ago and where we're both at now, just doing the same thing but completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the growth level to see what you and Matt have been able to do is is phenomenal.
Well, you've been a huge help and support, and really just a role model. I mean, I love watching you and your daughter have ice cream every Sunday, and with my kids being here this week and being a part of it.
It's hard to keep my girlish figure with all the fucking ice cream, but yeah.
Oh, but you're doing it. You're doing
trying,
great.
Yeah, trying still. Yeah. One thing that we obviously, the name of the podcast is Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out, and so we like to ask guests and kind of dig in a little bit, because I speak at 2:00 today, and I
can't wait.
Authenticity is part of my speech, but it's not the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's one little piece of it. But what does being authentic mean to you, and why do you think that it's actually important?
Oh my gosh, love that question. So I feel like if you are anything but authentic, like if you are, like I love tequila, and I'm like, I don't want anybody to think that that's wrong or any, I do. I think it's a fun side of me that my family, everybody knows about me, but I love to dance. I love Zumba. So like at the office, we'll have they'll play a song and I get up and dance, and
I don't do that.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, no,
absolutely. We have a blast at the office. But for me to always be myself no matter what, every single time that I've actually done and been in the area where I'm who I'm supposed to be, and I'm not hiding. I feel so good in my skin finally for the first time.
Really?
And I just think it's really because I've made choices to be right where I need to be, and now it's all of these relationships that I've been building and working on over the last 3 years. I feel like now God's starting to be like, okay, this is all why. You literally were supposed to meet Eric and Sam, and they poured into you. And then you went to this networking group, and you joined this association, and now you're on this board of members for the Associated Builders and Contractors. And now all these general contractors that I've just been myself around 100%, now those relationships are unfolding job after job after.
Because good people are attracted to good people. Right? If you put out, and if you're genuinely good, I talk about this today, but if you're genuinely good, right, you'll be able to attract and keep good people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people pretend to be good, and they're really garbage fucking piles of shit. And then they get found out.
Yes.
Right?
So if you're acting a certain way, well, eventually it's going to unfold. So I never ever say that I know everything about roofing. I'm always the.
Although there are a couple motherfuckers in this industry that have still not been found out. And it drives me fucking batty.
I know.
And everybody watching knows exactly who I'm talking about. I don't even need to say their names, but it drives me fucking nuts that there are still a couple of people. So I've talked about this before. I've talked to this with my coach, with my life coach, and he had a really interesting insight into this. You want to hear it?
I do.
So he said, if you know that what you're doing is disingenuous, is wrong, but you're doing it for a gain, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a piece of shit, right? But I know that I'm being a piece of shit, and I'm doing it to gain something from you or to take something from you or to whatever, right?
Yeah.
To do that. That in that world, that energy, that will eventually come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Right? However, the flip side of that is, if you are just innately shit and you don't actually know that you are, and you think that everything that you're doing is perfectly acceptable, the same energy doesn't exist. And it doesn't always come back to bite you like it does when you're purposely doing something wrong.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, goddamn, that makes sense.
That's huge.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And it allowed me, though, hearing that, to be able to take a step back and not be as angry about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I still get fired up.
There's still that. I mean, there's still so many... there's different like networking groups that I'm a part of in Atlanta for commercial with GCs, and I actually helped kind of build one of them up.
Oh, cool.
And then I was told that a different roofer was now going to be the one that was going to be a part of it. But whenever I looked them up, I'm like, they don't even do half of what we've done in 3 years. Like, I don't even know if they really are certified or they...
Right.
Or whatever, you know.
Right.
I think they just paid a certain amount.
Sure.
I don't want to. I'm not going to stoop down to that level, but
right.
Yeah. But I mean, I do think there's 1,000 of those that need to be
yes.
kind of moved out.
What I want to kind of wrap up with a little bit is I want to dig into. We love talking about struggle here, obviously, because of my story and fucking, I should be dead. I should be in jail. I should not have my family. I should not have my daughter. I should not have my wife. I should have none of the good things that are in my life, really, I should have, right? And there's still days that I don't even think that I deserve them.
I think that all the time.
Right? All the fucking time. So you went through a lot of shit as well in the last how many years? I don't even know how long it's been. But can you talk a little bit about that? I think people can relate a little bit to that struggle that you went through with your cancer.
Brain, okay.
Yeah. Because that blew my fucking mind when you told me. Well, that was a pun, wasn't it? Blew my mind. But when I didn't know that at all about you.
Yeah.
And like you literally told me that story at an after party at D2D Con, kind of half in the can, and it was loud as fuck. And I'm like, what? What did you say? And I'm like trying to put my ear, and I'm like, I couldn't hear you. But like you told me the story, but I'm like, I was absolutely floored. So if you wouldn't mind kind of a 5-10 minute explanation of that journey, I think people would really love to know about that and know that about you and get to know you better.
Yeah, so I was literally finishing, I was in dental school and I was finishing doing all my boards and stuff like that, and I always had to study more than anybody else. So everybody else was going to get margaritas.
Yep.
I didn't drink at all until long into my marriage.
Really?
It was all Matt. Yeah, Matt. It was all Matt. Matt completely like.
He's a fucking problem.
It's him. He did it all to me. Yeah, it's okay. I love him.
That's
crazy.
What we do.
But yeah, so we were. I was in dental school, did my boards, and I'm blown away. I passed my boards in 97 with a brain tumor, but
you didn't know you had.
Did not know. I was having like these petite mal seizures, and I had no idea what they were.
And
I just would
old?
start 21.
Okay.
But I would just start having like these weird like deja vus, but like I'm here right now, and like a plane hits us and we die. Like they were.
Wait, what?
They're like doom and gloom feelings is what they're.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
But not like you didn't see that.
But I would just have a
But you
deja
feel
vu,
it.
and then I
Okay.
would have
Yeah,
the doom
yeah.
and gloom of like, oh God, we're about to die.
Okay.
And then in those times of whenever I was having those seizures, I was actually forgetting I would have like a short-term memory loss. So that's why I always studied all the flipping time. I was like 36 hours of studying. I had to rewrite my notes.
Because you literally forget it.
I literally forgot it. Literally.
Well, that's frustrating.
I know. Super frustrating. So, so then Matt proposed and...
Proposed what?
To my hand in marriage.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So Matt got down on his knee, proposed to me. I didn't forget it.
Got it. Good. Sure he appreciates that.
I know. And then we went with my family to go kind of celebrate, pass my boards and all that fun stuff. And I had a really bad seizure where I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who I was.
Why did you think you were having these seizures? Or did you?
I thought I went to my dad and to my pastor and everybody at my church and even Matt. I would tell them like it's happening. I thought it was like these weird like satanic attacks or something because it was very disturbing. I mean, to be driving down the road and think that I'm about to die. Like, it was just awful.
Okay, all right, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I do here is I interrupt. So,
that's okay.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
good. This is your show. You do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I kept having these, I had the bad seizure. They took me to the hospital, and literally me and Matt were sitting there by ourselves, waiting for the guy to come out. And Dr. Pearl walked out and said, "You're going to be admitted. You have a brain tumor." And so I was like, wait, what? Hold on. Come back. What'd you say? And he was like, "Yeah, we need to do some more tests." And so I did, all the MRIs and stuff like that. And then kind of during the whole time, there was this other doctor that was kind of in the background. I saw him behind the glass whenever I had my CAT scan, whenever I had my MRIs, all the different tests, the EKGs.
How big was it?
It was like the size of like a walnut.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe like a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Like something like that, and it was just right here. You can actually feel my screw. I have a screw right there. Yeah.
And so they open you up?
Yes. So there's my scar. Here.
Okay.
Right here. And I had brain surgery on, it was June 15th, 2006. And then I got married May 11th, 2007. So,
holy shit.
Yeah. So, but they...
Did you have to shave your head and all that?
So I went to a ton of different doctors, and I ended up going to the doctor that was in the background the whole time, Dr. Shatali.
Okay.
And he said to me, he was like, if you were my daughter, I would go in and I'd get it all out as much as I can. I wouldn't go in there and just do a biopsy.
Yeah.
And he actually there said he thought it was a ganglioma, but I was like, well, how do you know that? And he was like, everything he said, I just really trusted him. And so instead of flying all the way to Texas, and there was like a really big
cancer hospital
huge,
in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
like
were
the
like
number one. Yeah.
about doing like a laser type thing, and and I had people that were going to pay for it, but I don't know, I wanted Shatali, and so he did my surgery, and my surgery was only supposed to be like 5 hours, and it was like 13.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so Matt, my mom, my dad, everybody was kind of freaking out, but then he came out and he looked worried. And so the surgeon.
That's not good.
No. So whenever I finally woke up, I was in ICU for a while, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't feed myself, I couldn't bathe, I couldn't do any of that stuff. So whenever I came home, my mom had to bathe me, and
were you like with it though?
It was just, everything was just slow. It was just like, whenever you open up your brain.
That's what I was wondering, because it fucks with your brain.
Yes. So there's just it's just very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just took a while.
Okay. Awkward question. Are you different now, than you were then, in how you interact at all with people?
So, and I don't know if things have changed because of COVID too, but my brain fog is a little worse now than it was. But now I feel like I have good doctors that are helping me, and then, and I'm, magnesium is helping a lot right now.
And when they rip it out, you're in ICU, you get to go home, you got to learn how to wipe your ass again and do everything, right?
Yep.
But how long until you were Chelsea again?
So June,
and did they get it all?
So there was a little tiny bit that they couldn't get because it was wrapped around like a blood vessel.
Okay.
And so he left a little bit. But I've gone back every year for an MRI, and it hasn't changed at all.
Did you have to do chemo or radiation or any of that shit?
So that was the thing. So we were waiting for him to call and let us know what the biopsy came back as. And he called us from his cell phone whenever he found out that it was benign. So, and it was exactly what he said it was.
Oh.
But he said, what I took out of your head, it was not that. Because he said it was real gooey and sticky.
That's gross.
And whenever, that's normally like malignant.
Oh.
So that's why he was nervous. And but normally he said that a benign tumor is like a nut. It's you can just
that makes
kinda,
sense. Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, so he was floored, and he was like, I don't know who you believe in and who you pray to, but he said that was a miracle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long until you're Chelsea again?
I'm Chelsea.
No, but I mean, like after the surgery.
I'm like, I am Chelsea now.
No, but how long after the surgery were you like kind of back to you?
Well, and because I got a job as a dental hygienist, and it was my first job, and I was like, oh man, this really messes it up. Now they're not going to want me to come work there because I have like this big thing wrapped on my head.
Right.
But they were wonderful, and I actually started working, I think it was like August. It like took me about like a month and a half. And then I started working I worked like 1 day a week.
Yeah, but like you were back to walking and talking and doing all the stuff that like you couldn't do when you got out, right?
Right.
Like,
I mean, well, they wouldn't. Well, I got to leave the hospital when I could go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And then and then they took me to church and a wheelchair, and I remember there was one song, and I stood up finally. I think it was like Father's Day or something. I can't remember it now, but.
And you can remember shit now.
I can.
Good. Well, that's the big win. That's the big thing. So
yeah.
If you can't remember shit, folks, it might be a brain tumor. Go
well,
get it checked out.
I mean, I do misplace my phone everywhere. My kids are like, "Did you check the pantry? Did you check the fridge, Mom?"
No, I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
So like I'm the worst. That's why I have Lexi. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have Lexi.
Yeah.
So the way that we end all of these episodes is I know that usually, I shouldn't say I know, but usually guests come on and they have something that they wanted to talk about that I either gloss over or forget, or you know what I mean, like something that you want to leave the audience with remembering about Chelsea or about what we talked about or whatever it is. So I give the last 3 minutes of the floor to the guest to bring up anything or to reiterate anything that we might have missed.
Wow. I mean, I think mainly it's just I feel like I've proven to myself, and I've proven to my kids, and just to give them, and anybody, I guess, just like if you have an idea or if you have an itch or whatever you want to call it of like actually doing something big, to not be scared, not to settle and not to sit back and like figure it out or whatever. I just really think
Don't
you just
be afraid
have
to succeed.
Right. You just have to trust.
Don't be afraid to succeed.
Go. And just do it. And don't be ashamed of it. Like, I really like my Mercedes, and I've worked really hard for it. Like, I'm like with my kids, I'm like, if they want something, I'm like, work hard.
Work hard.
And go get it.
Fucking earn it.
Do it.
Fucking earn it. I've never owned a car in my life.
Well, I haven't paid it all off yet.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean, I've never had a car in my life.
A car?
Yep, never had a car in my life. Ever since I was 15 years old, I had a truck.
Truck? You're just a truck guy.
I've never owned a car.
I know.
Natalie had some bullshit piece of shit Porsche that we fucking had for like 3 months. It was garbage, and we had to trade it back in.
Yeah.
But or Porsche. I'm sorry for all you fucking Porsche snobs. It is Porsche.
Well, you probably wouldn't like it. Matt kind of just falls into it.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that. I like to climb into my shit. Yeah, I don't like to fall into my shit. Yeah. Chelsea, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being you, and thank you for being my friend.
Absolutely.
And anytime there's anything that I can do for you, you know that I'm always here. And now I'm going to start fucking bothering you for shit as well. So I'll be leaning on Chelsea as well. So
can't wait.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Remember, everybody, be authentic. Get the fuck out.
If you can't be authentic, get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.